Do you know how sellers and listing agents price property when they bring it to the market? Most people don't, including the agents who come up with the numbers, mind you. So check out this week's episode of Tom's Take. I'm going to break down a simple 3-step analysis to come up with a fair and accurate asking price when a home goes live. Welcome to Tom's Take. I'm Tom Toole. We are talking about pricing property accurately and pricing it fairly when taking it to the market. And the caveat here is that many people don't put in the proper research. They don't know the numbers, they don't know the data, they don't know what's selling, what's not selling. So once you determine the benchmarks for the analysis, and what I mean by benchmarks, how big is the property you're looking at, some of the outstanding features, location, favorable or unfavorable, depending on if it's on a premium lot or it backs up to a major highway. Once you get those benchmarks set and you know what kind of property you're dealing with, then you can go to the sales data and break it down into 3 steps to very clearly see what's happening in the market. So step number 1 is look at the active inventory that's on the market and available right now. And when you look at it, it's going to show you 2 things. One, what the competition looks like, and obviously the best time for a seller to have their home on the market is when there's low competition, the neighbors don't, so you can see what the landscape is, get a feel for what's happening, and if you're competing with only one home or sometimes no other properties versus 5 or 10 very similar homes, that's going to affect your strategy. Secondly, what this will show you is when you look at the homes that have been on the market for more than about 90 days, and 90 days is a key number here because the average time we see in our market for properties to sell is that 1.5 to 2.5 month range. So 90 days tells you what's not selling. That's becoming a market rejected property, meaning the market said, no, we're not going to buy it right now, and that's going to have an effect here. So you can look at what's not selling as well as what your competition looks like. One kind of caveat is I would really focus on the absorption rate, and that will be determined by homes that have sold, which I'll get into in a second. So step 1, look at the actives. Step 2, look at the pending sales. See how fast those homes are turning, because that's the most recent data. In Pennsylvania, we will not get a sale price on a property if it's pending. We only know what they were asking and how long it was on the market. So there's going to be some assumptions made there, just like a pro forma financial statement. It will give you the trigger point. You will see when the home is going under contract and at what price point a buyer was motivated enough to write an offer that the seller accepted. So it gives you the trigger point. Look at the asking price there and reflect that on days on market. If it has a low days on market, it probably went pretty close to the asking price. The flip side is if it's a higher days on market and no adjustments have been made, maybe it's a little off the asking price. So you're going to have to go a little deeper on that, but analyze specifically what is pending sale right now, what's been moving as of late. And lastly, you want to look at the sold homes over the past 6 months. The reason I say 6 months, there are federal guidelines regarding appraisals that exist. 6 months aged sales is one of them. That's as far as appraisers are able to look back unless there's no comps out there. Now, we're not appraisers. That's the good news. It's a seller and an agent positioning the home to sell. So sometimes you can go outside that box and figure out how the subject property is going to fit into that. And then obviously you compare the homes. This home had a finished basement, this one had an extra bedroom, bigger, smaller, better location, etc. And that's how you come up with the number. You make adjustments based on that. The caveat I would have here is look at the absorption rate for the price point. We have talked a lot throughout 2018 about how higher priced homes are taking longer to sell. So when you go back to that active over 90 days, well, what's the average time on the market in this price range? How often is a home at this price point selling? And that's going to give you an idea of what you want to target and when you should be looking at potentially adjusting the price if the home's not selling. Because when a home doesn't sell, it's either because it doesn't show well, you don't have the right exposure online and offline, or it's not positioned properly to sell, which has to do with the price. So take these 3 steps, use them, and if your agent that you're interviewing is not using them, go call another agent who's going to take you through the actives, the pendings, and the solds to show you what's happening in the market right now, what's trying to sell, what's just sold, and the lag indicator, what's sold over the past 6 months. If you got any questions about this, let me know. You know where to get us. Ping us on social. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with more great content here on Tom's Take. Thanks for watching.